Well, good morning, everybody. This is Dr. Tom Schlueter with this week's Tom's Take. And as you can see, I'm in my home office today. I wish I weren't because there is a picture, a painting that is right behind me in my office at the church that I'll be referring to here in just a moment. You've heard me speaking over the last several months, even years, about those turning point moments that we go through. I believe those moments are set up by the things that we deal with in the everyday world, but many times I believe they are turning point moments that the Lord designs for us in order to shift, in order to change direction, in order to carry out His destiny and His design that He has for us, each of us. And I'm going to talk about that in just a moment, a little bit more. But let me take you back to Saturday. I was here at the house. My wife Kay, who is Jammin' Nana, and you know her for her jams, was making jams, and my 10-year-old grandson Luke was helping her. He was putting in the sugar and labeling the jars, and doing a really good job at doing all of that. And I think he had probably gone to our refrigerator and was looking at some of our magnets and things like that. And out of the blue, he asked me, "Papa, what does the D in D-Day stand for?" And I said, "Well, I'm not sure." And he said, "I bet it stands for death or doomsday." And I kind of chuckled with him, and I said, "Well, I'm not sure. Let me look it up." So I looked it up, and it really didn't give a clear definition to us. It gave ideas. Probably the readily given idea was that it was decision day or departure day or destiny day. Some even called it doomsday. But most people just say the D stands for day. So it's like the day when things are going to happen. And he was satisfied that and went back to putting sugar into Nana's pot for jam. Forgot about it until Sunday morning. I'm getting ready for services, and I'm spending my time alone with the Lord. And He just clearly speaks to me and says, "It's D-Day." Now, you and I know that D-Day took place earlier in the month of June. I'm speaking now on July 2nd, but earlier in the month of June was the 80th anniversary of D-Day. And I thought, yes, it is. But he said, no, today is D-Day. Let me read to you kind of the conversation that he had spoken with me. He made it clear in my spirit that all the training is now complete. All the strategizing is now complete. Now it's time for departure. Now it's time for the invasion. I feel it's going to be extremely important as we, the Ecclesia of Texas, enter into July, that we become clear and precise in our decrees and prayers regarding issues that we are facing every day in our nation, in our state, and yes, even in our personal lives. The list is endless. The continual exposure of the hidden plans of the enemy, Trump's upcoming sentencing, both of the conventions, the border issues, the war going on in Israel, and on and on and on. The Lord wants to make it very clear that He's given us the legislative authority to help speak into these issues. And we need to be precise and clear in these days, especially of July, in making sure that that happens. He then really put in my spirit, as I finished, the Lord said, D-Day is here, and I am swinging the axe. You'll recall that I shared with you before that the Lord said, I have an axe that I'm going to swing. And I was saying, yes, Lord, give it to me. I'll be glad to swing it. And He said, no, you're not going to swing any axe. You are the axe speaking to me, but speaking to Texas Apostolic Prayer Network, speaking to the ecclesia. You are the axe, and I'm about ready to swing you. I'm ready to shoot you out as an arrow. I'm ready to release you in your legislative authority. I would encourage you on this Tuesday, the 2nd. Tonight, many of you have already seen part 1, but part 2 of releasing the ecclesia authority or legislative authority of the ecclesia to the states is going to be broadcast from Glory of Zion Ministries in Corinth. I will share part 2 of my 2-part series on the tribunals, or these legislative councils that the Lord has established in this hour and is wanting to do so not just across our state, but as he's done in Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, and Kentucky, he is wanting to release this into all the states. This is the mandate for this hour. It's D-Day. It's time for things to turn around. It's time for us now to move into our full legislative authority. Now, I mentioned to you that I wish I had a picture behind me. Matter of fact, my t-shirt today, if I stood up, you would see it's a tattered U.S. flag, but below it is Gettysburg, 1863. I had the privilege with my friend Ken Bryan to be on the site of Little Round Top on July 2nd, on the 149th anniversary of this battle. And now we're celebrating the 161st anniversary of the battle that took place today. Matter of fact, as an annual ritual, I don't know how many years in a row we've done it now. I'm going to say 12 years or so. My wife Kay and I, we did it last night. On the anniversary of the beginning of the 3-day battle at Gettysburg, we pulled out the movie that was done by Turner years ago called Gettysburg. I would encourage you. It's a long movie. The music is stirring, and it's a powerful demonstration of the cost of freedom that was won during that battle at Gettysburg and literally saved our nation. But what took place on this day, July 2nd, at Little Round Top, was the turning point. I have read many biographies of General Joshua Chamberlain. He was a colonel at that time. He led the 20th Maine, and his activity on Little Round Top that day turned everything around. The South had really been winning the battle so far at Gettysburg, and they were going to go up the mountains that surrounded the main core of the North and come back around the backside. They needed to get over Little Round Top. And Joshua Chamberlain and his 20th Maine had the flank, and they held it. And not only did they hold it, but in the midst of no more ammunition, in the midst of everything running out, he said, "Fix your bayonets." And they charged downhill. And they won the day. And literally, I believe, won the war. Even though it went on for 2 more years, from that moment on, everything started winding down. It's a turning point time. It's D-Day. It's time for us to fix the bayonets. It's time for us to charge. It's time for us to be the ones that God has designed to be the legislative authority of his ecclesia to release his kingdom and his will on earth as it is in heaven. It's now time. So ask the Lord as you spend time with him, as you quiet yourself in his presence, what do you need me to decree today and throughout this July and in the months to come that will help dismantle, expose, deconstruct, bring forth what needs to happen in these days regarding the chaos of our nation and the world. He created us for such a time as this. It's D-Day. It's the turning point. Let's get busy.